this might be boring. All right, so this is Jen Psaki, but this is actually, I believe, Chris Hayes and Lawrence O'Donnell. I know Chris Hayes caught a bunch of grief for pointing out something obvious about Biden. Not sure much I haven't listened to it yet, so it's on Jen Psaki now. But according to this, it's Lawrence O'Donnell, Chris Hayes having a duke out, and Lawrence O'Donnell is just a total toady for the establishment. He's just a hardcore, right up the middle, not right deep in the heart of the demonic dungeon palace that destroys planets.
And say, it's okay.
Yeah.
We're
it's
okay.
for the best.
It's for the best. We're standing up for democracy. And just the challenge of that, it really speaks to their character. And I think that's a big part of what
the sacrifice writ large for the family.
Yeah, and it was that.
I'm going to get a date here. This is August 20th, 2024 is when at least this tweet was posted. So it's somewhat recent.
In some ways, this sort of form content, incredible pathos to the whole thing because of that. The self-sacrifice, a man with a titanic ego. Let's be clear. Joe Biden, President of the United States, a formidable ego. The guy ran for Senate, was elected 29 years, has spent 50 years in public life. This is someone who occupies a room. He likes the attention on himself, like all of these things, and also paired with like a deep sense of service and fundamentally contrasted with a person who lives their entire life in service of ego and avoiding ego death in Donald Trump, even if that means bringing down the constitutional republic so as not to brook having lost. And here you have someone whose last
so like, I mean, Chris Hayes pisses off a lot of lefties. He does a little bit too much of the like baby deer seeing the world for the first time kind of a analysis, I think. But he's a smart guy, and I think he's a thoughtful dude overall. Certainly he wouldn't have his job if he weren't useful to the empire, obviously. But hitting hard on the ego question, broaches the concept of narcissism and negative personality traits. But I think it's fair. I think we're in a world where we're mostly younger ages probably, but talking about this sort of stuff is becoming more and more front and center as the world is our generations are sort of reconciling with the harmful cultural norm that you don't talk about mental problems or mental unwellness or just basic sort of structural stuff like ego. I have an ego for sure. Anybody you see on TV has an ego. I think literally everybody in the world has an ego. That sense that you are protective of, you're defensive about certain qualities and you're seeking validation and affirmation from other people, no doubt. And it can get very warped. And people with big egos tend to be, particularly with ambition, who become the types who become politicians, podcasters, comedians, whatever people, they have colossal egos, and it can be destructive with other personality characteristics. So I'm guessing Lawrence is going to drop the Lawrence bomb real soon here.
Major political act is this act of getting up there to say, like, vote for her. Yeah. Thank you, Kamala. Like, that isn't, I mean, we've never said that. LBJ, as you said, was salty as all hell in '68 and basically wanted Nixon to win. You know what I mean? Like, what he did tonight, what Biden did tonight, is something that doesn't happen in politics. Like, it's an incredible thing to watch it happen in real time and to know that, like, he is hitting the marks and doing all this in service of something higher than himself, in service of the country, in service of the Democratic Party, in service of American democracy. Like, that is walking the walk like I have rarely seen in my life covering politics.
Can I just put a quick note on presidential and politician ego in perspective? Having worked with Joe Biden in the Senate, and Jen, I'm happy to hear you on this, I would have ranked Joe Biden's ego in the 100 in the Senate that I worked in, somewhere around 50.
Yeah,
okay, so it's like he is below average in actual fact and in the working day and the way ego intrudes on the working day, which is very important, which is to say, how does the ego work when the door is closed and it's 12 people or 6 people or more trying to do something important? And he was never the problematic ego in the room, and there were definitely problematic egos in the room.
So there were smellier clowns at the circus, is what the defensive Lawrence O'Donnell has to say. Okay. I'm not sure I'd describe it as stuff some in a locker about it. He does seem a little defensive. And Chris Hayes is praising him. This is like has his job. He was saying, this guy's got a huge ego, but despite that, he did do the thing that we didn't expect someone with his ego to do, which is to step aside and make room for Kamala. Yeah, but it doesn't. You're supposed to say this guy just killed a whole bunch of people with the genocide, and fuck them, and let's go. Like, why can't we call the police? Obviously, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. If you're a politician and an important person in a big job, it's policy to murder people. You don't get the police called on you for that. But yeah, all right. Well, that was kind of boring.